Welcome to Live Daf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem and welcome back to today's Daf Hayomi, which is Nedarim Daf Lamed Gimel. We are actually on the bottom of Lamed Beis Amud Beis, but perhaps, let's just go back to the beginning of the Perek, beginning of the Mishnah, Ein Bein. So it's 5 lines from the bottom. Ein Bein. There isn't much a difference between one who is Hamudar Hana Mechaveroi, a fellow who committed by way of neder to keep away from any hana, can't benefit at all from his friend. That's one class, one category. And we're comparing this to the next category. Lumudar heimenu ma'achal. He says, I will not have any food from you. We have 2 types of commitments, 2 types of nedarim. Any differences? Very little, except for the following differences. So basically they're the same. Elod risas haregel, walking through the fellow's property. So if I can't have any hana from you, I can't walk through your property. That's hana, it's benefiting. But if it's simply a question of ma'achal, it's a food-related neder, then it does not include walking through your property, and that's mutter. That's number 1. Number 2 difference, utensils which are not used to generate and to process food. So a mudar hana'a may not partake in these things as well, as opposed to a mudar heimenu ma'achal, which is strictly food related, which allows him to borrow any non-food related tool or utensil. What is a food related utensil? Hamudar ma'achal mechaver. If he's a mudar ma'achal, lo yashilenu nafa ukfara v'rechaim v'tanor. He cannot lend him a sieve, a sifter, a grinder, a mill, or an oven. These things are used to process food, and therefore are asur. Avol, but mash eloi cholok v'tabas v'talos v'nezamim. You can loan him a robe, a ring, a garment, nizamim, some sort of earrings, nose rings, which are not food-related items. So Hamudar Hana can't even walk through his property. That's a chiddush. Typically, one is not so particular about a fellow walking through his field, for instance, or according to the Ran, your chatzar. So why is this asr? Sure, you're enjoying the shortcut, but I would let anybody do it. It's not something which I specifically am allowing you to do. It's not something which I'm giving you. It's not personal. Man Tana, who's this Tana who disallows this as well? Even some sort of residual hana, which people are not too particular about. They're just easy about these things, allow everybody to walk through their area. So why is that us? What am I giving you? Amar of Adabar Ava. It is Rabbi Lezer. Rabbi Lezer, Hida Asanya, Rabbi Lezer, Oymar, Afilu Vitor. Even something which I typically would just forego, Asur b'mudar hana, is considered to having gone. I've received something from you, and is asur by a mudar hana. So that's by mudar hana. Regarding hamudar menu machal mechaveroi, there it's a food-related restriction, and therefore only pertains to food-related items. Leishilanu, the kitchen utensils, nafa ukvara v'rachaim v'tanu. Asks the Gemara, why are we including utensils? I spoke about food, and that's it. V'amin ma'achal nadar. I will not partake in your food. That's it. Amar Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish. Ba'imar, we're speaking that he added a word. He said, Hanas ma'achal chalai. He didn't just say ma'achal. Any pleasure, enjoyment related to food is asr to me. And therefore includes these uses, these benefits as well. Asks the Gemara, how do we know? Hanas ma'achalcha? Okay. Ema, perhaps it means shlo yilois chitin v'itin al makasa. They had this remedy, they would chew wheat kernels and place it on a wound. It had a remedial effect. So perhaps when he said hanas ma'achalcha, he meant to include this as well. I will not take your wheat kernels and chew it and use it as a medicine. So food, asur. Food in a medicinal fashion is also asur. But utensils, who says? Who says I'm including that? Amar Rava was speaking that he said more. But Imer, Hana, Hamevia. Any hana which generates food from you. So basically anything which is food related, any utensil used to process food is included. I do not want anything from you which will serve to make my food. So it includes food itself and even a utensil, like a nafa or kvara rechayim enatano. So at this point we have three levels. He's mudar ma'achal, that's simply food. Hano'as ma'acholcha includes even the chitim used for a remedy. Hano hamvial de ma'acholcha includes food and utensils. Omra papa. What about sak lavi peris? Can he borrow his friend's sack, which will be used to transport food and bring it closer to him? So I can't have enough from you. Can I use your sack to transport food to me? And the sack is pretty much enabling my achila. It's helping me deliver my food to me. V'chamar lahavi olav peris. Or using your donkey to do the same. What about just a basket? Again, used to transport my food. Can I take these things from you if I may not have hana'as ma'acholcha from you? It's asr. It's also included. All these are hana hamavia l'dei machalhu, because they bring the food closer. They facilitate the meal. What about the next case? By Rapapa, sus lurkav olav. Can I borrow your horse, which I will use to ride on? V'tabas li roisba, or a ring, which I will wear to impress the guests at the banquet. So to take this fancy horse, this ring, which will help me impress my hosts and get the waiters rushing over. So these facilitate achila. But, it's not a direct, it's not a direct effect. It's like a goyrim. A fellow comes riding with a horse. Comes with this ring, with this fancy watch. Mahu, what would you say in this case? Or another example. Mifsak umezel ba'arimai. What if I take a shortcut through your property to get to the meal, to get to the party? So unlike the previous set of examples, sak and chamor and sana, used as a means to bring the food to me, here I'm going to the food and I'm going to use this to sort of impress the people and generate, kavod and attention so that they feed me better. What would you say in this case? Tashma, we're going to bring a raya from the Mishnah. We're going to try to bring a raya. Aval masha lo yicholok v'talas nizamim v'tabois. A mudar machal machaveri can borrow a robe, a garment, jewelry. Hechidami, what are we speaking about? Why is he borrowing? What's the purpose? If it's unrelated to impressing people, just wearing these things, well, obviously it's not included in machal. It's unrelated to food. Is there any need to even discuss that it's mutter? Elalav, apparently we're speaking of even if it's used to impress, to generate attention, which will bring him a larger meal. Uktani mashila, and the Mishnah allows it. Apparently it's not included. Loy, says the Gemara, no. Loy lam shloi l'rois. Perhaps we're speaking in a non-impressive type of case. He's not trying to garner attention. Just simply trying to wear these things for his personal use. Well, if that's the case, you ask, isn't it obvious that it's not included in the Isser Achila? You're right. Since the first part of the Mishnah mentioned that a mudar hadna'a may not borrow these items because they give him benefit, so likewise in the Seifa, in the Reisha we spoke about the food utensils, nafo, kvar, chaim, metano, which are off limits to the mudar hamin machal. So we found like a flip case, a matching case, things which are not ma'achal related, like the cholok, the tabas, etc., which are mutter to the mudar ma'achal. But, continues the Mishnah, even things which are not generally used for Eichel Nefesh, which you would think would be mutter for a mudar ma'achal, but there's an exception. Mokem shemaskirin, kayetze behen. What if in this location, this community, they typically charge, they rent these items? So $10 a day for the ring. In this case, even if you are mudar ma'achol, it's a food-related neder, also you cannot borrow these items because when he lends it to you and he forgoes the rental fee, he in effect is giving you money. And money is tantamount to food. What do you do with money? You buy food. So if it's a place which are maskirin, you're saving the rent, then any item is asr, even for a mudar ma'achal. But when it comes to food-related utensils, those are asr regardless. So the first part, the first set of examples, a sieve, a sifter, food-related utensils are asr to a mudar ma'achal, even if there's no rent being charged or saved. You can't borrow it. Why? People just lend these things out freely. Why is it asr? You're not giving me anything. You would give it to the next person for the same money, for free. It's not a thing that you care about. People lend these things out. So why is it asr? Mantan, who's the Tana? Amar Badabar Ava, once again, Sir Blezer, he who says even something which typically people just forego, they're easy with. But if you give it to a person who's meant to keep away from you, you are violating the neder. So in conclusion, a mudar hano'a mechaber can't have anything. Even something which typically people just are easy with. Even vitur is asr. What about mudar mimenu ma'achal? Depends what he said. Just ma'achal, that's food. Hano'as ma'achal, even the chitin used as a medicine. Hano'a hamavil de ma'achal, that includes food, and also kelim, which are used to process food. Nafa ukvar urchaim metana. Rav Papa added, even items which are used to transport the food and bring it closer. Sak, chamor, tzana, basket, anything used to deliver the food. What about the horse, the thing there which are going to be goyrim, an increase in food? We'll leave that as a shayla unresolved. And the Quran says we go l'chumr. Regardless, if it's something which is maskirin, which is typically rented out, now he's going to forego his rent, that's tantamount to have given him money. Money equals food, which is asr, even for the fellow who's mudar himenu ma'achal. Okay, says the Mishnah, Hamudar no mechaver. We have Reuben who made a neder. Look, Mr. Shimon, you can't have enough from me. Shoikelei shikloi. Still, Reuben can go ahead and pay the machzas hashekel fee on behalf of Shimon. Upareas choiva. You can even pay up his debt because he's not giving him anything. He's just paying up his debt. Umachshaleis havidas. If he finds a lost item of Shimon's, he can return the lost item. However, makim shenotin alei sachar. If in this community they have a custom that the finder takes a small fee in lieu of his lost work, so that's schar. If for some reason Reuven doesn't want to take that from Shimon, there's a problem, because if he allows Shimon to keep that money, Shimon is benefiting from Reuven, which he's not allowed to do. So what do we do? Tipol hano lehegdish. That money goes to hegdish, and the Rash explains, because any hanoah that Shimon receives from Reuven is a kainim. It's like carbon. It's also like hegdish, and therefore that's the appropriate address. It goes to hegdish. Asks the Gemara. Fine, I understand that Reuven can pay a machzas hashekel on behalf of Shimon. The Ran explains, because either way, Shimon would still have a portion, a chelik in the karbonis and Beis Hamikdash. That's the halacha. They would have everybody in mind. So although I gave it on his behalf, I didn't really give him anything. I did a mitzvah for him, but I didn't actually give him anything directly. But when it comes to paying off a person's debt, you're freeing him of debt. You're giving him something. Why is that mutter? Alma, apparently, avruchi ari balmahu v'shari. It's as though Paying off a person's debt is as though you've chased away a dangerous animal, a lion, from his herd. Very nice, thank you. It's a nice chesed, it's a mitzvah, but you don't get paid for it. Protecting him from harm is amazing, but it's not actually giving him something directly. It's like sur meira. It's not asay toiv. It's not having given him something. And therefore, even if Shimon may not benefit from Reuven can still pay up his loan. Mantana, who's the Manda Amar who allows this? Who considers paying off a debt as just avruchi ari? Who's that? Amar Vayisha zu divrei Chanan. This is Shitas Chanan, discussed back in Ksubais, who holds that if a fellow steps forward and pays up a person's debt, it's amazing, but it's just like chasing away a lion. You haven't actually given him something directly, and he's not obligated to repay you. His shita is reflected in our Mishnah. Rava Amar Filu Tema Divra Koil. You know what? Our Mishnah can be even in line with Shitas Rabbanon. That when a person pays up his friend's debt, he has given him something. He has released him of that pressure, of that anxiety, of that chayv. Not only that, it's as though he took his place. It's as though he did a shlichus. He did his job. As though he was appointed by the loive to pay up his debt. It's as though you sent me to do it. And therefore it's as though I gave you that money and now you owe it back. That's typically. So why is this different? Even the Rabbanon would agree, Gabi Mudar no. In our case, by the Mudar no, it's mutar. Why? It's a unique case. The Yoiv, Le'al Manas, Shalig Lefrei, was speaking that when the Malva gave the money to the Leva, it was on condition that the Leva has a choice. You can decide to pay, you can decide not to pay. So, when you pay up his debt, you haven't really given him anything. Okay, so the Mishnah can go either way, either Chanan or the Rabbanan in this specific circumstance. We mentioned Chanan and the Rabbanan, where does their machlekes manifest? My Chanan, where is the Chanan? This not. Mishalach Dinas Hayam, a husband skipped town. Va'amad echad u'prineses ishte, a fellow comes forward and accommodates his wife's mezainis needs. Pays her credit card bills. Can the fellow ask his money back from the husband? I'm filling in for you. I'm paying up your obligation to your wife. Chanan Aimer, Ibedes Ma'isav, he lost his money. Nobody asked him to do it. Unless he actually stipulates. He tells the wife, look, I'm lending you the money. So she's the leiva. Now when the husband comes back, he has to pay off his wife's debts. But if he didn't say that, he just laid out the money, assuming husband will pay it back, the money's gone. There's no obligation, despite the fact that this stranger actually accommodated the husband's obligations. It's mavri achari. That's all. He hadn't really given him anything, and therefore the husband doesn't have to repay. That's Chanan's shita, but there's a big machlekes. Nechleku, Allah of Bnei Kahanim, Gedolim, they disagreed. V'amru yishava kamahoitz b'yita, when husband returns, the stranger, the friend, swears how much he laid out, and he gets it back. I paid up your debt. I did it on your behalf. It's as though you sent me to pay that money, pay back. Omar Abdeisa ben Hakan as Kedivreim, I agree with the Bnei Kahanim Gedolim. Husband is responsible. Omar Bechma Zakai, no. Yafa Omar Chanan, I agree with Chanan. Husband is not responsible. Why? Because the stranger, he placed his money on the deer's horns. Go figure, how to get it back. So back to our sugya. Reuven, who's not allowed to benefit Shimon, can pay up Shimon's chayiv. How? One of two ways. Either it's Chanan speaking, paying off a debt is not tantamount to having given him anything. The leiva, that is. You haven't given the leiva anything. Whereas according to Rava, in our case, we're speaking that the leiva never really was obligated to repay the loan, and therefore even the Rabbanan would agree that when a stranger steps forward and pays up his loan, I don't owe you anything. because I didn't need your favor. Concludes the Gemara. Rava who said that our Mishnah is like the Rabbanon, speaking about a special set of circumstances where the Malva gave him money with an open-ended repayment plan, and therefore when Reuven paid up his debt, Shimon is not responsible. Why did Rava prefer that as opposed to Rav Oishi's approach, which is that the Mishnah is Chanan? The He preferred that the Mishnah follows, even the Rabbanon, rather than limiting it to Chanan. So it's speaking about such a specific case, and therefore even the Rabbanon would agree that a stranger who repays that loan hasn't really done him much of a favor. Rav Oisha Lama Rava. Why did Rav Oisha pick his route? Our Mishnah is Chanan. Paying up a loan is Mabrei Chari. Why didn't he adopt Rava's Shita? We're speaking that the Leva borrowed it on condition that he doesn't have to repay, and therefore repaying that loan is not a favor. Gzeiro Shalev Lipara. We're concerned that if we allow it to happen in this case where he did not commit to repay, we allow the Mudur Hanot to benefit in this case. Mishum Lipara might lead to the next situation where it was an ordinary, regular, conventional loan she has to repay, and the fellow who's Mudur Hana will go ahead and repay that loan as well. It's confusing. If we allow this case, it might lead to confusion. Therefore, we say that all cases would be Asr, if not for the fact that it's Chanan speaking, and Chanan typically holds any situation where a fellow repays a Loive's loan, Loive is not responsible. He hasn't given the Loive anything. He has simply gotten the creditor out of his way, gotten him off his back. It's like Mavriya Chari, in which case he's Pater. In the third case, we have Machshir Leis Avidosai. We have two people who must keep away, Mudur Hana, but you can return his lost item. Now, who was the Mudur Hana from whom? Pligiba, we have a machlekes, Rav Amir Rav Asi, between these two Amiroim. How to understand the Mishnah? Chadam, I want to explain. When do we say that Reuven can return Shimon's lost item? That's only Ela b'shenichsei machzer, when Reuven, the fellow returning the item, his nechasim, his assets, his belongings, are asurin al malaveda, are also to Shimon, the one who lost the item, meaning Shimon may not benefit from Reuven. Still, the Mishnah contends that Reuven can return Shimon's lost item. Why? Because when he returns the item to him, he hadn't given him anything. Midam means something. Midam denafshei, something which belongs to Shimon, he's returning to him. I'm not giving you anything. I'm giving you back your lost item. The fact that I'm putting in effort, okay, so that's a mitzvah. And therefore it's mutter. But if it would be in the reverse, Shimon the Bal Aveda, the one who lost the item, his belongings were to be asur al machsa asur to Reuven, meaning Reuven can't benefit from Shimon. If that's the case, then we have trouble. Loika mahadale. In this case, Reuven cannot return Shimon's lost item. You know why? Because Reuven ultimately benefits from this activity. The kamahanile pruta de Rav Yosef, because he's going to get a pruta of Rav Yosef. What's pruta de Rav Yosef? So the Gemara in Bava Kama as a machlekes between Rabbah and Rav Yosef in a case where a fellow is a shomer aveda. He found a lost item. How do we treat the finder? Is he a low-level shomer, assumes very limited responsibility for the item, like a shomer chinam, like a fellow who's just doing a favor, watching as a favor? Or is he a more advanced caretaker, like a shomer sachar, like it's always getting paid? How's he getting paid? Just watching a lost item for free? Answer is he's getting paid. How? Halacha is a person who's involved in one mitzvah is pater from any other mitzvah that might come his way at that given time. A fellow who's involved in watching an aveda, he's oisik b'mitzvah, and if at that moment a poor man approaches him for tzedakah, he's pater from tzedakah. So actually, he's going to be gaining a pruta. That change that he would give to the ani, he keeps to himself. He's a shomer sachar. That's Rav Yosef's shita, and likewise in our case, if I, Reuven, should not be benefiting from you, Shimon, the owner of the lost item, I can't pick up the lost item and care for it because I'm going to gain the pruta de Rav Yosef. I'm going to be pater from giving tzedakah. The other shita says no. Even if my nechasim, even if the nechasim of balaveda, the shimon, fellow lost the item asur to me, the finder. Even in this case, mahadar lei, I can return the item. What do you mean? I'm saving the pruta? No, pruta the this idea of saving the pruta, it's not such a common occurrence. How often does the ani come just at this time? And therefore, it's not considered as though I'm getting hanoah from you. So even if it actually pans out that I end up, sparing myself that pruta, that's not what the fellow had in mind when he made the neder, and this was not included in the isur. Okay, so bottom line is, we have 3 halachas in the Mishnah. A mudar hano can provide the machzas hashekel, it can be pereh the chayiv, machzah the aveda. So the shekel we discussed is just a mitzvah. Regarding the regarding the machzah shekels, the Ran says because they cover this fellow as well. Meaning, even if he didn't actually send the shekel, he would be included in the karbonis. When I give it for him, I'm just doing something extra. But the Ran does add, and Ahmed Beis, he says, but if typically paying up a person's debt would be a problem, so why would I pay his shekel? Why is that mutter? He says, well, speaking that the fellow already sent his shekel and it got lost, he's not really responsible at all. So when I go ahead and I pay for him, I'm just doing him a favor, not really paying off his debt. It's just a mitzvah on his behalf, and it's mutter. So that's the shekel. What about priyas chayv? How can I pay his debt? We have two ways to understand. Either it's chanan, who says anytime you do that, it's tantamount to chasing away a line. You're just getting the malva, his creditor, off his back. You're not actually giving the leiva anything. Track 2 is that it's the Rabbanon speaking. And even according to them, we're speaking that he borrowed on condition that he doesn't have to repay. And therefore, when I repay that loan on his behalf, I haven't really given him anything. I can also return his aveda. So if my nechasim are also to the loser, to the Baal aveda, it's okay because I'm not really giving him anything. I'm just returning his lost item. If his nechasim are also to me, we have machlik. It's going to one shita. It's also because I'm benefiting from him. When I'm oisek b'mitzvah, I'm pata from tzedakah. According to the other shita, it's mutter. It's not shchiach, and therefore does not generate an isser by mudar hano. Okay, let's just summarize the first part of the daf as well. We have the mudar hano mechaveri, in which case I can't have any benefit from him, even something which is vitur, something which is considered, a secondary hano, which he's not really particular about. He allows anybody through his field. I cannot walk through. That's a shita of Rabbi Lezer. Afilu vitur also mudar hano is considered having gotten something from him. Mudar menu machal, what depends how he said it. Machal straight, that's food. Hanoas machal includes even using a food item as a medicine. Hano, hamavil de machal chalai includes food and utensils used in the food making process. Likewise, a chamor, a sack, a basket used to transport food would be a problem. We had a shaila regarding a horse, a ring, etc., which creates some sort of goyrim for hana in machal, and that we left as a shaila. But as the next mission tells us, if I'm actually saving on the rental fee, in that case it would be usher on all items, because saving money is tantamount to giving me something which is a food related hana, because money is used to buy food. In which case everything would be included, even if the neder was strictly food related. All the best to you and Hatzlacha Rabbah.